I feel like I need some of the old heads to chime in because I don't know if you can tell, but I'm what one might call a young buck, young blood, if you will. I'm turning 27 in 2 weeks, and maybe I'm not that young, I don't know. But I'm turning 27 in 2 weeks, which sounds crazy. Like, y'all, am I getting old? Anyway, I'm turning 27 in 2 weeks. So I've been like seriously dating for 10 years now. And brother, for my people who are self aware, maybe too self aware, debatable, have high pattern recognition and, actually like consciously strive to work out their shit, it's hard as fuck out here. Especially if you look at it from just the scope of human history. We're like the first motherfuckers who, in real time, just kind of received this exponential access to unending amounts of information, videos, and perspectives via these fucking pocket portals that we call phones. And I think it's fucking with everyone. I could be wrong, but I feel like pre-social media, people use like sitcoms, TV shows, and just whatever accessible media representations there were, like to build an understanding of what a relationship looks like and how it functions. There was a depiction and a visualization of a dynamic to fall back on as a guideline, and the storyline insinuated that this works. The format of these shows, regardless of the trials and tribulations these characters go through, whatever quirks or baggage these people have or carry inside, it's like the love conquers on. Love conquers all. They get through it together and still find happiness and fulfillment together. Like, that is the format of a sitcom, right? They're supposed to start and end at the same place. They're supposed to end where they begin. So you start in the regular world, the mundane world, a bunch of stuff happens, there's a bunch of conflict, and then they're supposed to more or less kind of end with the same level of health. There might be an arc of change slowly throughout a series, but for the most part in a sitcom, they pretty much kind of end where they begin. There's this idea of stability. I don't know, it just felt like a simpler time. But today I feel like this suspension of disbelief is just completely gone. Or maybe there are just too many fucking examples of the contrary. There's just like a little bit less of that blissfully hopeful, ignorant thought of love for me. Like even the songs from the early 2000s that were bangers that I was in my room like, got me out here in the water so deep. Tell me how you gonna breathe without me. If you ain't here, I just can't breathe. Nowhere, nowhere. You know what I mean? Like that's it. Like that shit had me in a chokehold. I walked, I ran, I jumped, I flew. Bonafide banger. Still a bonafide banger, you know? But like now I listen to these lyrics with today's awareness and it's like, I know that shit was cute in 2013, but like actually like super codependent. You know what I mean? Like we're just in a different place today. I know too much. The pattern recognition is too strong today. And there's just too much information. there's just too much information everywhere. There's threads and reels and horrible reality television and relationship counselors who make content and their deep dives into the relationships of people you used to look up to. And there are just horrible examples of relationships accessible to us. Love Island, I'm looking at you like, side note, didn't y'all remember F-Boy Island? Because me and my roommates, like in college, fucking loved that show. That show was tea. That shit was hilarious, satirical. That show was really funny. Anyway, and this is just one layer of it. I understand that I'm just accounting for one layer of the whole conversation, right? But basically, love in our collective subconscious today, you could argue that it's more real and less crafted into the idea that it used to be back in those like sitcom days of this is what a healthy relationship's like. But man, there are just so many examples of what I don't want. And I'm having a hard time finding models that represent or visualize or capture the essence of something I'd actually like to align with. Like, I don't see a whole lot where I'm just like, yeah, I like that. I love that. I feel that. I resonate with that. I don't see a lot of that, but I see a lot of shit to the contrary. The relationships people looked up to, like Will and Jada is like a perfect example, have become, let's say, humanized. So basically, a lot of those theoretical ideas or references you might have had in the back of your mind, providing some sense of confidence in love, yeah, it's gone. And it's gone. it's just gone. Okay, and I guess I should also add this caveat that I realize this conversation that I'm saying right now is going to be mostly relevant to people like me. Like maybe not people who have happily married parents, because I don't know for sure, but I feel like people who have happily married parents, they've been together for 30 years or whatever, I feel like those people might still have some subconscious stability, some baseline stability in their schema, in their paradigm of the world when it comes to relationships. Because it's like, even if your shit has kind of been fucked up, you still have some hope or optimism, because regardless of what the world shows you, my parents are still together. So it's possible, you know, like even when shit gets bad, you have this understanding of consistent union, working through things, commitment, you know, this idea that with work, things can work, you know? So I don't have that. I grew up with single parents. I was not modeled union after the age of like 6. So I look to media. I look outside the world for this skill that I'm supposed to somehow learn how to develop, but it's not in the home. It's not in my life around me. So where do I go? I watched TV when I was a kid. I get older now. I'm on social media. For those of us who grew up in single parent households, like how are you supposed to observe and learn or come to understand something that you don't have physical access to? Media, stories, books, movies, that's kind of all you really have. And the way I see it, partnership is a skill. Even being able to engage in community, relational dynamics in general is a skill that so many people are not actively trained in, or they haven't had it modeled. So social media is kind of what I looked to understand the world when I was 14. What do I have to go off of for real? All right, let me preface by saying that my dating experience has not been all bad. I'm not a cynic. I've definitely had the privilege of getting to know cool people, engaging in a lot of fun courtship and all that, all of the human intimacies that come with trying to get to know someone beyond the surface layer. There's been a lot of dopamine and endorphins and oxytocin and all that shit, whatever, right? And I'm generally optimistic, like about love and the practice of partnership. I feel like as I evolve as a person, I naturally kind of magnetize relationships in all forms, platonic or whatever. I'm magnetizing people who very much align. But objectively, I still just feel like we as a collective are really up against a beast in this so-called age of information. Like I kind of look at what it's doing to us, and even those of us who are able to ascend past some of the effects of it, I can still see how we're affected, you know? So the age of information actually has a lot to do with this. And the first thing I want to touch on is something I've mentioned in a previous video, and it's about like the weaponization of knowledge, or the weaponization of therapy speak today. And I talk about how we have just access to infinite amounts of information today. Just data, omnidirectionally, like it's every frequency, every perspective, and it's everywhere. That can cause a lot of issues. It has a lot of benefits, but it can also cause a lot of issues, right? There are positive impacts for sure. Like there's so much awareness today about things like consent, SA, there's more accountability and a higher expectation from people, because just as a society, it's like you can't lean on ignorance as much as you used to be able to for your just fucking malicious ass behavior. You know that shit wrong. You know that shit is wrong, okay? But it's like on the other side of that coin, there's also the spread and now weaponization of things like therapy speak. Everyone thinks they're a psychologist, and everyone's diagnosing everyone with narcissism or whatever the fuck. Bro, listen, I rejected someone once and I was labeled avoidant. And in my head, I'm thinking, baby, the only thing I'm trying to avoid is you. I'm rejecting you and you're calling me avoidant is crazy. Maybe I just don't like you. Who's gonna tell him? Anyway, there's a lot of surface level knowledge, but not a whole lot of deep embodiment or objectivity when applying said knowledge. So we got people running around feeling like they got a PhD in IG or TikTok University. It's like we got all this raw information, but like when's the self-awareness update gonna drop? And this is actually one of the key themes that I want to journal about: self-awareness. You can only meet someone as deep as you've met yourself, period. And it's wild when you find yourself in one of those disorienting conversations with a person where it's so painfully obvious that they're talking to you, but they're just talking to themselves. They're using your relationship or dynamic as a playground to relive their past traumas, or like there are things about themselves that they dislike, but they can't fathom that it's themselves that's causing them to be unsettled. So they push it out, they push it outward. And that's the only way they can interface with those parts of themselves, by externalizing it and criticizing it on another person that it might not even really apply to. And it's trippy as fuck. It's like they're talking to a mirror and you're here like, baby, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And here's the thing, like, listen, it's not lost to me that the way lacking self-awareness works is that there are going to be many people who hear these words and watch this video and nod in agreement, like, yet they themselves still lack self-awareness in their relationships. And it could be me. Okay, I'm the person making this video and critiquing all this shit, and in someone else's reality, in someone else's paradigm, I lack self-awareness. It could be me. Me. I'm the bad guy. Now, I have to acknowledge the catch-22, creative alchemy, all the shit, right? The catch-22 here is that what you perceive and think about and how you frame the world is going to be true for you, period. So I know I'm sitting here talking about these things on one layer, but the thing is, if I seriously believe and hold close to my chest that dating is hard, no one is self-aware, we're failing as a species, like if that's what I'm constantly thinking about, then that's the corner of the universe that I will inhabit. And I won't see all of the deep, beautiful evolution and intelligence that exists in the realm of union and partnership today, if I choose to see it. I won't see all the opportunities, all the ways that humans are growing. I won't see those things if I'm not looking for them. So I also want to acknowledge that you can flip all this and start thinking about concepts that are of a different frequency. And if you fill your thoughts with higher level ideas, healthier ideas, you'll start to find yourself in more aligned relationships. And I believe that. Thought curation as a form of creative alchemy and going down rabbit holes is a way that I continue to drive my experience while here on Earth. And one of those rabbit holes I've been going down is this idea of karmic alignment, existential compatibility. Now, I'm not talking about destiny and like soulmates and there being some mathematical equation of who someone's, not that, but like just being aligned and having resonant frequencies inside and knowing how to attract those by knowing yourself. And it's like when you can know yourself, you just naturally attract what is also you. So really quick, what partnership means to me. I was dating someone and I asked them what partnership meant to them, what their ideal union entails, not necessarily to like the details, because I feel like it's kind of supposed to be like improv where the uniqueness of a relationship unfolds as these two energies entangle. Like you can't really predict the perfect love in a specific detailed way because the whole point of it is to like alchemically create itself and it surprise and delight you with its uniqueness. I don't know, I feel like there is an element of surprise and delight that's supposed to be there. But what I mean is the foundational feelings and frequencies you want a union to have. The foundational ones. Those are things you can think about before love manifests. And I think you kind of need to have those desires within your frame of awareness in order for that to manifest. So I asked this question and you could just tell that that's a thought they'd never thought about. You know, people oftentimes maybe don't really know consciously what feels aligned, what they desire to build or what their inner world is looking to create outward, like what they're looking to create with their lives. I kind of see relational compatibility similar to the hierarchy of needs, but in the sense that the things on the bottom, like that foundational layer, those needs are the important core ones. Like they're all important, but the ones at the bottom are like the foundational core ones. And as we get higher up, the higher up needs are a little bit more flexible. They don't need to be exactly aligned, I don't think, because personally, I feel like certain differences in those upper layers is actually can be beneficial to stretch and expand perspectives, you know, et cetera, et cetera. That's just my view though. But that first layer, like that first most foundational thing to me, however you want to word it, I think is some sense of spiritual alignment or existential compatibility. That's the thing too. Alignment and compatibility doesn't have to be like an exact mirror or exact symmetry. It just means that it's aligned, it's compatible, they work together. So they can be a bit different, but they're compatible because there's some under or overarching thread that connects, that makes sense with each other. Karmic alignment. People are focused on all these other things and not focused on that core thing of like, where do you guys' souls want to go in your individual existences? Are you guys set up internally and in your internal worlds that you guys can find play, value, expansion, exploration, growth, all the things that your souls desire? If you guys can build a union that, what's the word? Maybe is a catalyst for those things, or at the very least allows the freedom and exploration of those things, right? I saw a reel last week that worded it as dating people who align with your karmic commitment to the planet. And I thought that was really profound. People with a similar relationship to existence. So having a lack of awareness of self or only knowing the surface layers of self make it quite difficult to gauge that with a person. You want someone who on a base level has a similar way in which they want to interface with life. Was it Jennifer, what's her name? Everyone was kind of clowning her because she talked about how she ended an engagement because she said she was like admiring a tree. And her fiance was like, you say that about every tree or something. And her version of the story, her condensed short version of the story was that she knew like, I ended it, like that's done. The fact that you can't appreciate my appreciation for this tree means that we're not compatible. To the internet, because we didn't get all the context, I'm sure, that felt like a very extreme assessment and decision to a lot of people on the internet. But the premise, the thesis, I understand what she's saying. I'm not in her business. I don't know the tea of them and their whole dynamic. I'm sure there were other things, and maybe that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. But that idea of like, can we exist the same? Can I enjoy and express my soul in a moment and love this tree and the person next to me not lower or stifle my energy? Do they make me feel smaller or do they make me feel more free? Do they make me feel more expanded? That idea. So in that way, I get it. And I think that's why I find myself drawn to artists and creators, people who have this setup inside where they want to create the world around them. I understand that. I resonate with that. I feel energized by creation. I feel energized by my own creation. I enjoy being around people who feel energized by their own creation. And then by proxy, we feel energized by each other's creations. We catalyze and allow and fan the flames of more creation. I enjoy that. At the end of the day, it seems like all the confusion and nuance gets incredibly simplified if we just get really in touch with who we are and what we care about. I always say with creative alchemy, if you can see it, if you can visualize it, if you can feel it and memorize the frequency of something you wish to have, you can create it. And if you can really hold it and feel it, you know intuitively that I can create it because I recognize it. You have to know it. Once you become clear on something, it's already real. You're making it more real in the infinite field, in the quantum field. You're making it real so it can work its way to you. It's all about becoming clear in the positive direction, if that makes sense. So instead of building lists and fixating on what we don't want, all the things that are wrong, it's really about sitting with ourselves and getting super clear and in touch with what we do want, what we would like to feel and experience, and getting in touch with it in a way that's not clinging or desperate. That's like the key. Think about what you want. And this goes for relationships. This goes for everything. Think about what you want in just like a playful deliberation of thinking about what do you want, seeing how these things feel in your body, imagining what you want in a way that's not clinging or desperate. That is a frequency of creating and pulling to you. That is manifesting, honestly. Just building familiarity and awareness with ourselves about who we are and what we want to feel. So many people don't know what they want. And there's so much power in simply knowing what you want in a way that's not desperate, but you know, you're aware. So when you see it, you recognize it, you know? We have to stop creating in the negative and just think about, what do I want? What do I want? And a lot of confusion, I think, can actually be solved just in general by simply thinking about what we want in that place of non-clinging neutrality. What do I want? What feels like me pushed outward? Once I know myself, I can recognize myself or whatever frequency of alignment is. I can recognize it in the world. What do I want? How can I visualize and hold what I want? How can I become very clear on what feels good to me? I know I bring everything back to this place of creative alchemy, but it's like that. It genuinely is my framework with my art, with my practices. It's funny, ever since I started seriously building the workshop I'm working on, those of you who are new here, I'm working on a workshop. It's called the Creative Alchemy Workshop. This one's specifically about art magic. But as I'm working on it, I'm seeing how it truly applies to everything and building the alchemical skill of creation, the framework, the paradigm of creation, and how changing your inner settings of how you see the world, how it allows you to manipulate and create from thin air. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole, but it's going well. I know it's taking a while. I've been kind of talking about it, but my goal is to have it done and launched by my birthday, which is September 6th. And like I said, I think I'm going to let like maybe up to 80 people, probably 50, but I'm going to let up to 80 people download it to start. And then I'm going to just close it again so I can focus group a little bit. I can do some tweaks. It's a growing and moving thing that I'm building. And so the launch in a couple weeks is going to be like a beta test, if that makes sense. It's just taking way longer than I thought it would because every day, y'all, I'm learning new shit. I'm uncovering new shit. I'm deepening the practices. And so every day there's new shit I want to add to the workshop. But I realized that I need to just pull the trigger on it, get it live, and then make it an active space and just keep adding shit as I go. Because I have a feeling that the insights, y'all, the information, it's not going to stop coming. This shit's just going to ramp up. And so I just need to get it live so that I can like build on it continually in a way that doesn't feel so like cramped and rushed. Like I need it to, I don't know. Anyway, in summation though, the biggest change or arc I've had over the past decade has been just a redefining or maybe expansion of what love is as a concept, something that is also bound to all the laws that we have to abide by: movement, maintenance, how it's not fixed, how it's subject to laws of entropy, how it can also exist in that uncomfortable duality of perhaps this love is truly meant for a moment or a season, and then perhaps it's also meant to end at a certain point for your own evolution and character development, and that there's value that grows out of the grief or pain of the loss of love. That love isn't just this positive thing. Love is this deeply pervasive, neutral, all-encompassing, omnidirectional mirror of the universe. So it has all these different faces. I'm developing all these expanding views on love, and while it's making the concept more dynamic, more all-encompassing, more omnidirectional, how it includes pain and loss, how it's temporary, just like everything else, but how it also can stretch across timelines and realms and also be infinite, how it can be the most beautiful thing, and that's why it can also be the most devastating thing. It's like I'm ingesting all this evolving knowledge, and it just feels like I miss the early 2000s. I miss the early 2000s because I was a child in the early 2000s, okay? Like, it's all just kind of beautifully fatiguing sometimes. And yet I'm still incredibly engaged and excited for the lessons that life is sure to bring my way. But anyway, this is the point in the journal entry where I'm gonna reel it back in so I can just continue the day. Because I got shit to do. I got this painting to work on. But I love you guys. I've just been wanting to journal about dating, relationships, love, and I've just been thinking about it, so I thought I'd just throw it all in one video. I hope you guys are doing okay and are doing well. Leave a comment if you had any thoughts. If you don't have anything to add, you can always just be like, I love you. Like, I don't know, like, I like that. Show me some love. You know what I'm saying? I'm showing you love. Show me some love. But seriously, subscribe. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I love you guys so much. Stay tuned for my posts and updates on the Creative Alchemy Workshop. Again, this is kind of like a beta launch. I'm doing this kind of weird thing. Just kind of be with me through it. I just want to learn how to cultivate a space that we could really enjoy. I also want a place to host my community outside of YouTube as well. Like, they could dead ass just like censor my channel and I won't ever talk to you guys again. So on that note, also go to my website, scroll down to the bottom, sign up for my email list so that I can reach you outside of YouTube. Okay, that's all. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next video.